Ladies and gentlemen, President Trump vows to get to the bottom of everything. It's basically like Trump has this channel, but he's president of the United States of America, which is fantastic. He called into Hannity just now. Check it out. If you don't think that every single day before he goes to bed, he imagines Clinton getting indicted for crimes that she committed, then you're not paying attention. He does. He's obsessed over all of this because he has a right to be. Hillary Clinton committed major crimes. She then framed President Trump after James Comey, Andrew McCabe, Peter Strzok covered up her crimes, stated that she transferred top secret and special access program intelligence onto servers outside of the United States government, but didn't mean to. She did so unintentionally. Then she purchased the Steele Dossier, and then Clapper and Comey and Strzok and all of them utilized the Steele Dossier, and Andrew McCabe was under criminal investigation to frame and set up Trump. This is President Trump calling in tonight into Hannity on Fox News. Check this out.
I wonder if Tom Brokaw and Andy Lack are proud of this. Should never be trusted again, along with fake news, CNN, and so many others. All right, joining us now exclusively on the phone is the President of the United States. Mr. President, thank you for taking time for being with us tonight.
Well, thank you, Sean, very much. It's an honor.
I appreciate you being here. You really have not had an opportunity to react and respond to the Mueller report, the AG's letter that summarized the report, that exonerated you, no collusion after all these years, as you have been claiming. He left the decision as it relates to obstruction to the Attorney General and Deputy Attorney General. They quickly said, no, that does not rise to that level, and I wanted to get your reaction.
Well, we're very happy about it. It's gone on for a long time, almost since the beginning of my term. And, you know, if you look at it, we've done so much despite that. But it was a cloud. It was a cloud that most people didn't believe, fortunately. They spent more than $30 million, hundreds of interviews of people, in some cases very innocent people that were put through the ringer, millions of document pages, millions and millions of document pages. And after that, there was no collusion. There was no obstruction.
So he's pretty much stating, look, he's been through everything you can as a president, especially with a special counsel that already had millions of pages. His server at Trump Tower, he didn't wipe his Trump Tower server clean. He didn't do that. Clinton wiped her server clean. Clinton obstructed justice. They set him up. Now he's going to declassify everything. Everything that I've been saying will be vindicated. It already has been. Everything you've been saying will be vindicated. It already has been. No collusion, no obstruction. The conspiracy maniacs, the same people. Well, I can go on forever. Check this out, though. It gets a lot better. A lot better.
It was such a ridiculous thing that happened. On the other hand, you know, you look at how did this start? How did it start? You had dirty cops. You had people that are bad FBI folks. I know so many. They're incredible people. But at the top, they were not clean, to put it mildly. And what they did to our country was a terrible, terrible thing.
Mr. President, we've talked a lot on this program about the FISA abuse scandal, and this is what we know, that in August of 2016, we know Bruce Orr warned everybody at the DOJ and the FBI that Christopher Steele hated you, that Hillary Clinton paid for the dossier, that it was not verified. But still, in October, and then 3 renewal application warrants approved, we're told by the Grassley Graham memo, the bulk of information came from that phony dossier. Even Andrew McCabe said, no dossier, no FISA warrant.
Now watch what Trump says regarding the Steele Dossier and the FBI's use of the Steele Dossier. Check this out.
There were Russian lies disseminated to the American people before the election, but it also violated the rights of Carter Page and gave a backdoor into your campaign for spying, which I know the media made fun of at the time when you said it happened.
Well, Well, when I said there could be somebody spying on my campaign, a lot of things happened. It was like it went wild out there. They couldn't believe that I could say such a thing. And as it turned out, that was small potatoes compared to what went on. When you look at what happened and when it happened and the money that was spent, the millions and millions on the phony dossier, and then they used the dossier to start things, and there was no truth whatsoever. It was a fraud, and paid for by Hillary Clinton and paid for by the Democrats and the DNC. It's hard to believe. If you wrote this as a novel, nobody would buy it. It would be a failure because it would be too unbelievable. Nobody would believe it's possible, the things that went on. And we're getting to the bottom of it, and it's got to be. I mean, you can never allow this to happen to another president. This can never, ever happen to a president again, Sean. That was.
And how do you prevent that precedent from taking place? People getting indicted eventually will lead to Clinton getting indicted. James Comey, Andrew McCabe, and Peter Strzok will be indicted under 18 U.S. Code 371, or should be. I believe will be. That is the conspiracy statute they wanted to use against Trump. They used that against Haldeman and Ehrlichman during Watergate. They tried to use, that was the statute discussed during the Contra scandal under Reagan. When you have numerous people working together for a corrupt, unethical, illegal endeavor, conspiring against the United States government to defraud the U.S., there's no greater example than this. This not only prevented or impeded the functions of agencies within the United States government, which is what that statute 18 U.S. Code 371 talks about. But what really, this is all about Hillary Clinton purchasing her own Russian hacking myth to frame Trump. She's running again. Okay? I'm stated that numerous times, endless times. She's running again. And she campaigned the past 2 years with a Mueller probe. Comey not only got his 2 years of a probe, a special counsel, into nonsense, the most absurd, irrational, nonsensical notion that Trump worked with Russia to buy Facebook ads and hack the DNC. That's stupid. But a lot of people believed it on the left. And they still do, even though the Mueller report says no collusion and no obstruction, which is hilarious. He was insubordinate and broke protocol and policies and rules and regulations. This is what the IG report stated. Anyone in any occupation in the world, if they did that, would be fired. But let's continue.
It was a disgrace and an embarrassment to our country that they were allowed to get away with this. And hopefully they won't get away with it.
Do you now feel vindicated? Was there anything that the Attorney General's report, and I know you've called for, obviously, the whole Mueller memo to be released. Did anything surprise you? And what about the people that were collateral damage in all of this?
Well, people were hurt so badly. Their lives have been ruined, and over something that should have never taken place, an investigation that should have never happened. There was no crime. As you know, you're only allowed to do this legally if there's a crime. There was no crime. They've all admitted it. Comey, who's a terrible guy, Comey and McCabe, and Strzok and Page, the lover, Page, and all of these people, they've admitted in testimony that there was no crime. So they started an investigation based on no crime. I will say this, our new Attorney General, Bill Barr, is a great gentleman, and I've heard about him for years. He's a great man. Had he been there initially, this all would not have happened, because what's gone on there is just a disgrace.
It's 2019.
Oh, Lord. You kidding me? All right, that's okay. That's all right. Okay. Hold on 1 second. Hey, I ain't mad at anyone.
Country.
Mr. President.
But a lot of innocent people were hurt very badly, and it's very, very sad, actually.
For this to never happen again, What do you think the path is to getting to that point? In other words, the checks and balances that you believe need to be put in place so that...
And we're finally getting to the nitty-gritty.
That a FISA court is, in this case, is not told Hillary paid for Russian lies. Its own author doesn't stand by it, but yet it was used to obtain 4 FISA warrants that gave a backdoor to your campaign. What do you think needs to happen to prevent this from ever happening again? What checks and balances and what should be pursued or not pursued, in your opinion?
Well, I'm going to leave that to our new Attorney General, who's been so incredible, actually, and that's based on a lot of people saying this is a very, very special person, and that's what you need in that position. That's a very important position. You need so many different, you need genius, you need rationality, you need so many different levels of good. And I'm also going to leave it to Lindsey Graham. He's head of Judiciary and Senate, and a very, very good guy and a very smart guy. And, you know, I'm just going to let them do whatever they want to do. And I would imagine they don't like what they see, to put it mildly, but you'd have to ask them. I think it's much more appropriate. I purposely didn't want to involve myself in this whole thing. I wanted to let other people do it, and I wish it didn't take so long. You know, we're talking about...
Well, we had Sessions. What do you expect?
Really longer than, if you think about it, longer than Mueller. It was many months before that Strzok and Page were talking about the insurance policy, right? An insurance policy, just in case Hillary Clinton lost. They wanted an insurance policy against me. And what we were playing out until just recently was the insurance policy. They wanted to do a subversion. It was treason. It was really treason. If the Republican Party had done this to the Democrats, if we had done this to President Obama, you'd have 100 people in jail right now, and it would be treason. It would be considered treason, and they'd be in jail for the rest of their lives. But it worked out the other way, and you know, it's just really a horrible situation and an incredible outcome, or certainly very close to an outcome. And we'll have to see how it all started. But I'm going to leave that to other people, including the Attorney General and others, to make that determination. But it's very, very important for
President Trump.
All right. So... ladies and gentlemen, he stated exactly what I've been saying. The president said exactly what I've been saying. And we'll finish this up. If it was the other way around, my God. If it was the other way around, forget about it.
To know, because in 50 years from now, in 100 years from now, if somebody tries the same thing, they have to know that the penalty will be very, very great if and when they get caught.
Before I get to the media question, would you consider, sir, a pardon
They have to know that the penalty will be very great. They have to know that the penalty will be very great. People are going to get indicted. People are going to get charged with crimes. There's so many overt criminal activity. There's so much overt criminal activity. They set up Trump. This is like a Charles Bronson, Eastwood, Chuck Norris, like those 70s and 80s films where a guy gets completely railroaded and then he gets payback and vengeance. And you heard it from President Trump. And I talked about this a lot. The precedent can't remain. You cannot utilize, because right now it's theoretically possible that somebody uses a private server to transfer top secret intelligence. If they didn't mean to do it, the precedent is there. Clinton didn't mean to do it, which is a lie. She obviously meant to do it. And she committed major crimes. Now you have President Trump essentially saying he vows Clinton indictments. He's promising Clinton indictments. Now, when I say Clinton indictments, he might not mean, actually, he makes reference to Clinton here. But he doesn't want to move on. regarding what he said after the election. He knows that Clinton's behind everything. So, let's just here. Let's just continue really quickly. So hold on one second.
Look at General Flynn, for example.
He should be pardoned.
Papadopoulos, who's had to spend 12 days in jail. Is that something that you would consider at some point?
Well, as I told you, many, many people were hurt, incredibly hurt by this whole scam. It's just a scam, but it's much worse than that. It's at the highest level, and the importance is so what it meant to our country. It's a very, very dark period, and I think maybe we're shedding a lot of light. We're gonna come into a bright, beautiful, sunny day. But when you mention General Flynn, he was a man who had a incredible record in the military. You see what happened to him. The FBI said he wasn't lying, as I understand it, and the Mueller group said he was lying, and you know what he's gone through, what so many others have gone through. I could name names that would just go on for your entire show. It's a very, very sad thing. I don't want to talk about pardons now, but I can say it's so sad on so many levels.
Let me ask you, I believe you probably have forever branded fake news, and I'm not sure if some of these companies will ever recover. I talked earlier in my monologue about, I don't really recall them ever talking about record accomplishments, record low unemployment, African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, women in the workplace, youth unemployment. I mean, some really amazing numbers. But I see every second, minute, hour of every day
Shooting cases involving a young man named...
Okay, so... All right, so, ladies and gentlemen, let's... Okay, so I can go on for a while more, but he essentially promised in this interview to make sure there's no longer a precedent for this. This will not be allowed to take place again. The only way to do that is not from hearings. And he knows. Look, you know how I obsess over this? Trump 1,000,000 times more than me, and he has William Barr. I'm not saying trust Barr, but I can tell you he's 1,000,000,000,000 times better than Sessions, and even President Trump said that. And people are going to get charged with criminal behavior. Andrew McCabe is already charged. James Baker's already charged. Comey and Strzok are next, and eventually Clinton. Give me your thoughts below. You heard it from Trump. He called in tonight on Fox. Thank you so very much. Check out HA2A below, and check out my writing in the Federalist, the Daily Caller, the Jerusalem Post in the pinned comment. Thank you.